Panic Movement. Panic Movement was a collective formed by Fernando Arrabal, Alejandro Jodorowsky, and Roland Topor in Paris in 1962. It is considered by many as an anarchist avant-garde of performance artists. Now, we'll first take a look at the founders of the movement. Fernando Arrabal was a Spanish playwright, screenwriter, film director, novelist, and poet. Born in Spain, he moved and settled in France in 1955. He co-founded the Panic Movement and has been called the last survivor among the three avatars of modernism by the New York Times theatre critic. His theatre is known to be wild, brutal, and provocative. Alejandro Jodorowsky, a Chilean French filmmaker, playwright, author, musician, and spiritual guru. He is known for his avant-garde films, which consist of violently surreal images and a blend of mysticism and religious provocation. His first feature film, Fan de Weiles, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correct, but that has been an adaptation of Arrabal's play by the same name. The film and the play, that is, follows the journey of a man and his paraplegic girlfriend through a barren land, a post-apocalyptic wasteland, in search of the mythical city of Tar, where, according to legends, all wishes come true. The film's premiere led to the breakout of a large-scale riot, and it was later banned in Mexico. Roland Topor. He was a French painter, writer, actor, and filmmaker, and was again known for his surreal nature of work. A famous novel by Roland Topor is The Tenant, which was also later made into a movie by Roman Polanski. The novel asks questions about how we define ourselves, about alienation, and about a person's identity. Now, where does the Panic Movement get its inspiration from, or where does it come from? It has been inspired by the Greek god Pan, and again, the Panic Movement has been named after him. Pan is the god of the rustic music, shepherds, goats, and is again often associated with sexuality. He's also connected to fertility and to the spring season. Now, in ancient Greece, he was also considered to be the god of theatrical criticism. It is also widely believed that nighttime noises caused panic amongst the travelers at the time, and thus Panic Movement. Now, many of Jodorowsky's and Arrabal's works were censored in Mexico by the government there, and partly as a reaction to this censorship, Jodorowsky, Arrabal, and Topor launched the Panic Movement, thus creating a symbolic association in the context of the avant-garde, and thus the aim was to strive to find an alternative to the battered surrealist dominance or hegemony per se. Now, the theatrical events within the movements were designed to be shocking to the audience. Through this, the search was for self-revelation, which was believed to be achieved through violent happenings or violent scenes or moments that were created in the work of the artists of that movement. Now, these happenings eventually it was believed that these happenings would lead to the arrival of peace and ultimate beauty. Okay, now Jodorowsky, Arrabal, and Topor together created such scenes or happenings in theater in the theater that they created. The extremely violent shows were meant to release destructive energies and thus arrive at a sustained stage of peace, and that was their belief that these violent happenings would lead to this. Now, the idea behind creating these happenings was also that the audience would somehow assemble their own sense of reality by witnessing a riot of noise, color, and mood. Primarily, the photos that you're seeing here, the paintings that you're seeing here are Topor and Hodorowski. Um, and the whole and this whole video basically focuses on the works of these three founders of the movement only. Now, now I would like to look at an example of the theater that was created under the Panic movement. A famous a famous production by Hodorowski, Topor, and Arable in 1965 was called the melodrama Sacramental, and is known to be a very legendary surrealist creation. It was a 4 hour performance at the Paris Festival of Free Expression. It starred Hodorowski himself, dressed in leather, and it featured him slitting the throats of two goats, taping two snakes to his chest, and he stripped and had himself whipped. Now, other scenes which included very violent imagery was a crucified chicken, a giant vagina giving birth to Hodorowski, naked women covered in honey, and live turtles being thrown into the audience. So these were the violent happenings that were created on stage, and basically the Panic movement worked on on creating these scenes so as to shock the audience or create panic, which was believed would somehow lead to self-realization. Now, this movement in today's day and age has given rise to an album called Panic Movement by this band called The Hiss. According to the band, the album is an amalgamation of influences and personalities of the individual members of the band, and also it has derived influence from psychology, spirituality, and cinema.